Hey brothers and the occasional sister joining us today on the Bro Chick Club. It is a club. It's a club that you belong to because you're watching and listening to me. So thanks for your time. Yesterday I talked about the reasons why I stopped doing the ketogenic diet, and that video alone got 2,000 hits in the first 12 hours, so it was quite a hot topic. And as I always state in the videos, remember these are my views and only my views, not necessarily correct. I'm always ready to be wrong. Ross Noddy, one of my patrons and good bastard, has also got his own channel. Check it out. Ross, put your channel below. Well, actually you can see his channel because you see his comment. He wrote, I beg to differ, Clay. You had copious amounts of salt and high meat intake and fat when you're on the ketogenic diet. Wasn't a really good ketogenic diet. And I totally agree with him. I have a addictive personality and I just love meat. I'm addicted to meat like an alcoholic's addicted to alcohol. And when I was on the ketogenic diet, I actually was more on a carnivore diet, to be honest. Although I was having my 10 cups of leafy greens a day, but I was only eating one meal a day too. But I was also having a lot of meat. The ketogenic diet says you should have as much protein that fits in the palm of your hand, and that doesn't extend your fingers. So that's that much. I really struggled to have that much meat. I wanted to have a big fuck off pork chop or a big steak, so I definitely went over the top. Anyway, that there was the reason why I stopped the ketogenic diet, was because I developed heart disease. And that's the only reason. Otherwise I'd still be on it, because that ketogenic diet is actually a bloody good diet for a lot of people, and I must have got over at least 100 people onto the ketogenic diet. One of my mates who lives in Mahia, who's a fisherman, I stayed with him and I got him on it, and his life has been changed ever since. He no longer has the depression he used to suffer, and his weight's at a much more healthy level. So done properly, it's basically a plant-based diet anyway, with a little bit of protein, so it's not too far off the diet that I'm on now. So moving along, I had a conversation with my dad the other day. I go and see my dad once a week, and generally it's pretty surface stuff with me and my dad, because he's that generation. You can't really talk about anything that's really troubling you or go into deep stuff. It's always surface stuff. And I think one of the things with children want nothing more than to have a relationship with their parents, whether it's father to son or mother to daughter, or children want to have that relationship. It's the most important relationship to them in the world. They don't care about the people outside anywhere near as much as they care about their parents. And this is the opportunity for the parent to have probably the most meaningful relationship you'll have in your life, because you've got this child that wants to completely have an amazing relationship and friendship. They listen to you every word. They see you as the most important person in their life that's they rely on to survive. And a lot of parents they screw this opportunity up, and they actually they miss out. I've got this packet of seeds here, and I don't know what they are, but I'm reckoning they look like capsicum. I'm going to plant them not knowing. It's a bit of a mystery one. I found them floating around. Oh no, it's not. It's tomatoes. Is it? It's tomatoes. Okay, they're tomato seeds. Okay, I took them out of the packet. I was getting mixed up with this. Is a mystery one. I don't know what's in that one there. So if you've got a child and you're hearing me right now, just remember that child, you are everything, and you only get one chance. I'm fortunate that I have a fantastic relationship with my children, but it wasn't always so fantastic. I have been very transparent with my mistakes, and I've validated any of the wrongs I've done with them and listened to them on that note. And I think that that's important, but it's also important to move on and to be there through all the bad times as well as the good times. Children will sometimes test us, but they also bring out the very best. And I don't think there's a parent around that would ever say, I wish I never had children. I think everybody that's got kids today will say, oh, I would never have been without children. They become the most important thing in our lives. We have this opportunity to have this relationship with this little person that's going to be completely like there for the rest of our life. And always, my daughter talks to me regularly on the phone. She calls me quite often. I'm very proud of my kids, and we have an ongoing friendship. And it's a little bit different to any other friendship. It's a filial love. It's a love that sometimes you've got to, when they're growing up, you've got to be quite hard. You've got to do things that they call you're being mean and you're being horrible. You're actually setting those firm boundaries. And raising children's a little bit like having like dogs. Like, I shouldn't say like having dogs, because having dogs is like easy. Kids is hard work. But having dogs, you've got to be consistent with your training, and you've got to be persistent. And the same applies to your children. Thing about dogs is dogs are require a fraction of the time that children. Children require 24/7, whereas a dog, you can do 2 walks a day with your dog, and he'll keep himself amused for the rest of the day anyway. So yeah, a little bit easier. If you want to have an easier version of having kids, then have a dog. Right, there's those tomatoes planted, and they are big beef hybrid. I think they're gonna be like beefsteaks, so we're gonna put those up there. It's a bit late to be seeding them, but you never know. Might get some late season tomatoes. So thanks for your comments about the ketogenic diet yesterday, guys. I really appreciate that. I'm using a mixture of worm castings and compost and big leaves I don't want in there. Boy, some bloody good worms. These are out of my worm farm. It's actually not a tiger worm, it's just a standard worm, but I've got that there for, and I found that's actually the best for seeding stuff. Seems to go really well on that. That's a big worm. It's all broken down chicken manure, and I don't think I'll put that worm in there. And I've had some pretty good success at seeding stuff. These are some pumpkins I did not that long ago, but what's happened is all the bottom leaves have gone yellow, and it looks like maybe something's having a chew on them. Is that normal? Do they die off the bottom ones? I think they do, eh? I'm only in my 2nd year of growing food. Well, actually 3rd year. I started with COVID with my nephew Mikhail. Mikhail spent a year with me. He was my sister's son, and he'd always struggled. No, that's not true. That's not true. He never struggled. He struggled when he got to 18, when he started taking drugs. One day he started taking drugs, and then he struggled. He was actually a really cool guy, and then he started taking drugs, and my daughter saw him at a concert, and she said he was different from that day. And then he came to stay with me, and I loved him like a son, and him and I started gardening together. We were stuck together through lockdown and COVID, and he stayed on longer. And tragically, a year ago, my son and him decided to go swimming in a place that was dangerous where they shouldn't have. Maria Falls, and Mikhail drowned, and my son nearly drowned trying to save him. And it was a absolute massive loss to many of us. I felt like I was losing a son. And I think about him every day. And every time I'm in the garden, I think about him, because he did love the garden. Him and I would spend hours out in the garden, and I didn't know how to grow stuff. I remember the first time we bought a packet of something like this, and we didn't know how to take them out. That's how fresh we were to gardening. We didn't know anything. We worked stuff out between us. He was also a personal trainer, and he was really, really strong. He looked, he had an amazing strength. His body was incredibly strong, and he was also incredibly. He was a lyrical genius. He could say anything at all. He was like one of the fastest readers I've ever met in my life. We actually looked up the fastest reader in the world, or the fastest talker in the world, and he competed against him. And although it wasn't recorded, he was actually faster. He had a brain that could spit out words faster than his mouth could actually say them. He was a talent, but he also struggled a lot with life, and tragically he drowned. I've lost a few people that I love, and every time that I lose somebody, it reminds me that when I'm with the people I do love, that I should always tell them I love them, because you never know when you might lose them. And I certainly told Mikhail I loved him. He knew that. He knew that. Anyway, today's video is a bit of a mishmash, really, just about different stuff. Nothing particularly one thing or the other. Just sort of come out here into the. Geez, look at that! Look at that there. It's a whole lot of worms in that bit of. That's all worms in that. Can you see that? I'll touch the canvas so it focuses. Look at those worms in that. That's how the worm farm. So you get a whole mass growing together. And that's good. We'll bury those in here. We want worms in here. I find it very therapeutic being in the garden, brothers. I find being out in the dirt every day, and I get up super early in the morning to do this. Sometimes I'm up at 5 o'clock because it's cooler, Today it's actually a cool day, and I find that getting out in the glass house or in the garden and getting my plants seeded or growing or whatever I'm doing, I find it very, very therapeutic. Just for, not that I need any therapy, but just calming. Well, maybe I do need therapy. Maybe subconsciously I do without even knowing it. Maybe we all do. Maybe we all need it just to get away. Because I spend an awful lot of time talking to people and editing shit, and you get taken away from yourself. But when you're in the garden, you're just with yourself, and you don't even sort of think about stuff. You're just like cruising along, and it's real chill, and it feels great, and you just like feel natural to be putting stuff in the ground. Right, I'm gonna put some seeds in that. I think it's a very natural thing to do to garden. I think we've always done it, and getting back to the earth, you know, the natural, it's grounding, being just in dirt. I love the garden, I really do, and I never thought I would. I couldn't believe I would. I used to think it would be boring, but actually it's cool. Oh, I've only got 4 seeds. I need 6. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. I will do a mixed bag here then. Going to put 4 at the top and another couple of random ones. I'll be growing stuff and not know what the hell's popping up here. I'm a bastard for putting meat in the freezer and fish in the freezer without labelling it, and I'm a bastard for planting plants without labelling and then going, oh, what the hell's that later on? Doesn't matter. It all ends up going in the mouth and coming out the bum in the end, doesn't it? Well, I was supposed to be going hunting this weekend. Kev, good bastard, one of my patrons, he invited me on a block, but I looked at the temperatures. It's going to be like 15, 16 degrees around 7 AM in the morning, and I don't hunt dogs anything close to that temperature anymore after having killed my pig dogs in the past. I'll put a couple of parsnips in maybe. I just don't risk it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth dogs. Anything over 16 degrees, you kill a dog, and I've killed dogs doing it. So that hunt's going to be off. Might just go and shoot a rabbit in the paddock. So I want to put a little bit of meat in the fridge and the freezer for people. What are we going to plant here? We've got, what else would go with tomatoes? Oh, we've got another pack of tomatoes here. McGregor's Heirloom Bloody Butcher. I don't think there's anything in there. It's just an empty packet. Bloody Butcher. It's a good name, isn't it? Oh, I could stick a couple of bits of corn in. They pop up pretty quick. We know what they are. Oh, we've got some chilies. Cool. What would you mix with it? You definitely know corn if you put it in there. Got all these seeds that different people have given to me. I've got a whole lot sent to me by this company, King Seeds. Good bastards. They did that. That was during lockdown. I got all these sent to me. English, so we've got thyme. Radishes. Oh, I like radishes. But that's something you're not going to reseed. You're going to plant those straight in the garden. I plant those straight out. Chicken greens, whatever the hell that is. Thyme. I'm sort of pointing towards sticking some corn in there. I like corn. I've got a good row of corn in the garden right now. Cauliflower. Wrong time of year for cauliflower. It's just going to turn to seed, isn't it? Now we've got some lettuces. We've got some watermelon. Now I reckon we stick a bit of watermelon in there. Yeah. Oh, what's this here? Oh, I've got some random seeds over here. Are they onions? There's no packet. Got these here. I'll show you the seed and see if anybody can guess. Looking at some of you guys that are really good will know by looking at the seed what the hell it is. I'll crank this open. There's no packet with it, so I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'll show you the seed, and if you're a really good gardener, you might know what we're looking at. I haven't got a bloody clue. Now some of them I do. Like I could tell you what a pumpkin seed looks like because I eat them all the time. Ooh, these are interesting. Shit. Oh, these are little black seeds. I don't know if you can see that there. Look at these here, look. What would you say they are? Anybody know? Maybe a capsicum seed. Capsicum perhaps. You know, you get those seeds and they might dry up like that. Well, we'll stick 2 of them in, and when they pop up, we'll know. Be a bit of a mystery seed. There we go. A couple of those in there. Cover them up, and so we've got some tomatoes with a mystery. it's important to come out and seed stuff, and I've got these left over, so what I'll do is I'll plant these ones out, these ones as well, like in a whole container of their own. This massive plant here is a Cape gooseberry, and I got it from down the beach. That's the plant berry. Oh, dropped out. They're really delicious and very high auric value, vitamin C. That's it there. I thrived off these. So that one's not. That's not. You want a brighter yellow. That'll be a bit better. Yeah. I want to be sort of canary yellow, like well, that one's green too. Yeah, that's not good. That's a bit better. I just thrived eating these when I was doing one of my primitive challenges. Every day I got my vitamin C hit. That's the colour you want. Well, that's a tiny one there. They're coastal and they really do well in the glasshouse. So this one's growing next to my tomatoes. My duck comes in here and eats them, and it's prolific in what it actually produces. You just get, there's the little lantern that they come and it goes like into a little lantern. That one, nah, that one I can eat that one. It's a bit past its use by date. It's my first thing I've eaten today. So I used to eat one meal a day. Did that for 3.5 years. And whilst I was basing it around a ketogenic diet, as I said earlier on, I had way too much meat in it. But the other thing I had way too much too was too much dairy. And that one meal I used to make sure I used to eat a whole lot of cheese every time. And cheese is one thing that us men shouldn't eat. You're going, oh, slow down a minute, but cheese and prostate cancer are so tied together, and there's some really good studies on that. But do your own research. I found out the hard way. I didn't do any research, but do your own research. There's a direct correlation. And say a country like Japan, where they didn't used to have a lot of cheese or milk. In fact, they didn't drink milk at all. In 1958, a country with 100 million people, and they had something like 18 cases of prostate cancer that year. You do the numbers, we have like 6,000 men every year get prostate cancer in New Zealand, and many men die of it. So dairy and prostate cancer, there is a correlation link, but there's also a strong correlation link with genetics as well. But the one thing is, you don't want to switch that gene on. Well, I certainly switched it on, because my one meal a day consisted of lots of meat and lots of protein and a lot of fat. That is, the ketogenic diet is a very high fat diet, but it also has a lot of vegetables in it. Lots and lots of leafy greens, collards, bok choy, everything you see in here. But it also has a lot of fat, so it's a hard one to get quite right. And I think that well, I must have turned at least 100 people on the ketogenic diet when I was on it myself, and thankfully everybody reports back to me they're doing a lot better on it. Just didn't work out for me, because I think I abused it quite badly. I wasn't doing a clean keto. I wasn't having any carbs, but I was having a lot too much of the old meat, particularly the meat and the fat, because I love meat and fat. Right, we'll get some weeds out of here. So I had a talk with one of my children yesterday, and I'd always talk to him about things that pop up, and I said, you know, your mind is like the garden. This garden here doesn't care if it grows all of these useless weeds, doesn't care this bloody horrible shit that comes up, which is that twitchy thing which grows. It's quite happy to grow that. The garden doesn't care if I grow beautiful tomato plants like this one that bear us fruit. I'm the gardener, and this is the garden. And it's exactly the same with our minds. Our mind is like the garden. Our mind doesn't care what we put into it. It just doesn't care. It will let you put horrible shit into it, and it will let you put cool shit into it. It's up to you to do your studying and learn new things and engage in new ideas and be open-minded and try different things, or you can just be idle, and the idle mind is a devil's playground. I said to her, you've got to make sure, honey, that I've got 2 daughters. I said, you've got to make sure, honey, you plant good stuff in your mind, because the mind, like the garden, doesn't care. If you put bad thoughts, it'll soak them up, it'll do that, but they ain't going to help you or anybody. Plant good stuff in your mind. If you plant good stuff, eventually good stuff will happen. It's the law of attraction. You think about good things and good things happen. Think about bad things happen. I think most of all, for the best part, I'm actually very positive minded, but I do sometimes have negative thoughts and I'm quick to jump on top of them. Sometimes I lie in bed at night and I can't sleep, and I've got something a problem I'm trying to solve. And yesterday, in my brain, I was thinking, how am I going to build this log cabin? Because I always want to build a log cabin. And I looked at videos on YouTube and all these different ideas and that, and I thought about the limitations I've got because my logs are only 3 meters long, and I was problem solving in my sleep, and I couldn't go to sleep. And I thought, I've got logs that are 3 meters long, and I want my cabin to be reasonably big on the side, but the internal space, if you've got 3 by 3, it's not going to be 3 by 3. It's going to be more like 2.2 by 2.2 by the time you put the ends. And I've weathered my logs, and the season, here they are here, they've had two years out in the season, and the bark's coming off, which is good, because I wanted that to happen. And then I got to thinking, maybe I don't make it into a square, like I was going to a cabin. Maybe what I do is, I'll make it into like a rectangle. So I've got a door at the back of the hut, and a door at the front, and that door, which is about 1 metre wide maybe? No, not quite, maybe a bit smaller. Maybe say, I don't know, 700, 800. That there could be part of the length of the building. And I could make it so there's a full door that goes to the top and one at the bottom. And I could get a log like this power pole I've got here, which is I've taken down this telephone pole. Maybe I could use that at the top to extend. And that way there I can give my cabin, which is going to be like a rectangle, and the door takes up the wall space, and I can just build a door in there. And that would solve that problem. So I solved that problem, and then I started thinking, well, how am I going to chink the ends if I've got to cut off the door? How's it going to go to the end? How's that going to work? And I have this thing going around in my head, and I should be going to sleep at night, and I'm busy like trying to solve this problem. Now my mind doesn't care that it keeps my body awake, like the garden doesn't care if I grow weeds in it. It's up to me to be mindful, to shut my mind off and stop thinking about making a bloody log cabin at 2 a.m. in the morning when I should be sleeping. And it's up to me to go, well, hold on a minute. Just like it's up to me to either turn the phone off if I'm scrolling at night or anything. So being mindful is actually taking action about how what you put into your mind and what you make it do. This is the Broadshed Club. Today's words as usual only be my words, not necessarily correct or right, but just what I have found to be in my journey along life, as I'm still making fuck ups and still getting things right as well. And I really appreciate all of your comments, and I hope you take something from it, and always be ready to correct me and pull me up so I can learn more, because that's what I want to do. I want to be a better bloke today than I was a bloke yesterday, and I can only do that by taking the advice of those that know more than me, and listening to those that know more than me, and learning from you guys. And maybe you could also learn something from me if I stumble across something that works. We're all different, we've all got different needs and different psyche and different makeup and different bodies, and we inherently all want the same thing. We want to be loved and understood and cared for, and we want to go through life with a minimal amount of pain and the most amount of love and good shit. But realistically, number one thing that we all share in common is we all want to survive. And that's probably the reason that I'm listening to you. When you make a comment, it's probably the reason you're listening to me. We want to survive, and we want to pair up with people that are like-minded, that are going to be, when the shit hits the fan, whatever it is, that we can survive together. And the other thing we want to do after that is we just want to have a bloody good time. We want to have fun. So let's all survive. Let's not just survive, let's thrive. Let's just thrive. Put the best tucker into our bodies, the best thoughts into our mind, and have a lot of fun. Right, might put the kayak in the water if the wind doesn't come up too much. It's a bit late in the day for fishing, but right now I've got to go do some inside jobs, which I hate. I hate going inside. I've got to do some paperwork and crank on my day. You have a good day. Check on a brother. Check on yourself. And I'll see you next Broadshed Club video. See you later. Right, bookwork. Bloody bookwork. Somebody took my Play Tall Stories domain. They took the bloody domain name when I was sick. I didn't pay up the fee, and now they're spamming it and I can't get that domain back. They've bought it and they're spamming it, and that's the domain name is on all of my videos. It's linked, and the other day I had a video taken down because it had that name on it, and they said you're spamming stuff, but it's not actually me, it's the people that took my domain name. So I've got that headache to try and work out right now. The joys of being a YouTuber. See ya.